Good morning. I am going to give you a little update from my weekend, just a little one, but I'm using that as a platform for this morning's live feed. And so I'm going to talk about the three very, very powerful words that can be life-changing for you. And those three words are, as for me. As for me. We live in a world where we have become very accustomed to talking about other people, to focusing on other people and their shortcomings and the things that they fail to do. Good morning, Betty. And so as a result, we miss the power of those three words, as for me. Focusing on our area of responsibility rather than what everybody else is doing. So as Facebook gathers an audience for us here, we're going to talk today about those three words and how incredibly powerful that they can really be. So, as for me. I like that, and I tell you where that's taken from. That's taken from Psalm 73. The psalmist there talks about how wonderful things are and how other things are going with other people and all of the other stuff that's happening in his world. And then he says, but as for me. And I think that statement, as for me, becomes incredibly powerful as we understand it. If we get a hold of that statement, but as for me, if we begin to understand that there is tremendous value in focusing our attention on who we are, not anybody else, not what somebody else is doing, not anybody else's, not giving attention to anybody else, not talking about what they're failing to do. And I look at typical, I spent the weekend, as I do every Veterans Day weekend, I spent this weekend with my youth group. We take a youth group retreat on Memorial Day or on Veterans Day weekend. We've done that for 3 years now. We take that time, we get alone, we focus our attention on a couple of things. We focus our attention on our relationship with each other and our relationship with God. And we focus on those three words, but as for me. Because sometimes we got stuff going in this ear that comes out of our mouth, and we probably should have never said that. And we allow those things to get inside of our head. And when we allow them to get inside of our head, it makes a big impact on how we perform. There's a reason why, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, there's a reason why it's so important for us to guard our heart. If we guard our heart, then we're careful about what comes out of our mouth. But if we're not paying attention to what's going in the ear, or we'll catch it by what's coming out. And I see people repost stuff on Facebook that's not true. It's just simply not true. It's fake news. It's old news. It's fake news. It's perverted news. It's twisted information. We've talked about accuracy of facts. You need to have all of the details, or we need to go, well, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just going to be quiet and not say anything till I have access to all of the information. So important that we focus on as for me. Okay? As for me, three incredibly powerful words. So I take my teenagers and we get along. You'll see the pictures that we've posted on Facebook of all the fun that we had, all the goofy stuff that we do. And that's good because that's what we want you to focus on. That's what we want you to see. You don't see the heart work that goes on. There's an important work of the heart that happens there. And when we take the time to focus our attention on that statement, but as for me. As for me, let me focus on me for a little bit. Not in a selfish fashion, but in a selfless fashion that says I'm going to turn a blind eye to the faults of other people. I'm going to turn a blind eye to the things that I find that I don't like in other people. I'm going to stop paying attention to those things, and I'm going to pay attention to me. And I see the destructive influence that that's had on other people as they have taken the time to share what everybody else is saying and thinking and doing that's wrong. As for me, let's focus on me. What am I doing? And where am I at? What's my walk look like? What's my day look like? What's my routine look like? Focus on as for me. I've been intrigued as I've listened to people, as I've gone around from the country and done various workshops and seminars and conferences and all the things that I've done and have spoken in multitudes of places to tens of thousands of people, how many of those folks always have somebody else as an excuse. And they miss the power of those three words. But as for me, as for me, as for me, I'm going to focus my attention on me. I'm going to give attention to how I'm doing. I'm going to give attention to the things that I'm responsible for. I'm not responsible for how other people think. I'm not responsible for how other people vote. I'm not responsible for the political positions of other people or how their walk with the Lord is. My responsibility is for me. As for me, let's focus my attention on me. Because if I do that, then I'm in a much better position to be an encouragement and a blessing to other people. Okay? As for me. Three very, very powerful words. Three words that have to be addressed. Three words that we have to think through from beginning to end. I don't need to hit send. I don't need to hit reply all. I don't need to respond back and get even. I just simply need to focus on as for me. As for me. One of the phrases that's very, very destructive in relationships is this phrase right here. What you really should do is... Because as soon as you say that, you're saying, I've taken my attention and I'm putting it on you, and I'm going to tell you how to live your life and how to run your world. And when I do that, it can damage the relationship. Let's focus our attention on as for me. Focusing where we are responsible, where we can do the greatest amount of good, where we can I can take control of what I think. I can't do that if I'm focusing my attention on somebody else. I can take control of how I govern my day and how I feel about the things that are happening. But I can't do that if I'm focusing on somebody else. As for me, you learn the power of those three words. They're incredibly powerful. They can be life-changing for you. They can make all the difference in the world. Okay? As for me. How are you doing with that as for me? We have a phrase that we work with our youth group all the time, and it's called, what does that look like? Now, it's important that it's, what does that look like for you? How does that work for you? What's it look like for you? And focus our attention there on the you, okay? So as for me, let's focus our attention where we can do the greatest amount of good, and that is making ourselves, my person, making me, the person who can make an impact. And I can't do that by telling everybody else how to run their world. All right? I can change the world, which, by the way, is the next webinar that I'm doing. That's the reason why I posted the link to the webinar right above. And so you're welcome to take a look at that. I'm updating that webinar schedule right now because we finished the last webinar last week, which was really good. And we've moved that webinar now into the month of December. And so you're welcome to click on that link. I try to alternate the times when those are given so that we have some webinars in the evening, some in the morning, some on the weekends, so that we can catch a gamut of people. I want you to be able to get access to that information. So make sure that you jump in there and identify which one of those webinars you think might be beneficial to you. You're welcome to join us at any time. Those webinars are free. They're coaching sessions designed just to make your life better, as I've focused on those things in my life, okay? As for me, three words that if you'll focus on those three words, it's amazing the difference that can make, okay? I look forward to talking to you later this week. I'll catch up with you soon.